This video here, I'm going to tell you why physical fitness is necessary for you to achieve your objectives. I'm not trying to sell you anything fitness related in this video. I'm just trying to say, even if you're trying to get a promotion in your company, or you're trying to get married, or you're trying to be a better parent, or you're trying to meet the woman of your dreams, or maybe you're trying to not even get a promotion, you're trying to get the job that you need to get after uni, for instance, or maybe you're in a redundancy situation, so you need to get your new situation, your new position, your new role. I'm saying to you that physical fitness is essential, not just for, when you go into the interview, if you're overweight or obese, maybe the interviewer will have a bias. They won't say it out loud. We don't work in that type of system, but maybe in their mind, they'll say, oh, this person's unattractive. Whereas if you're slim and in shape, this isn't one of the reasons, by the way. There's 7 reasons why physical fitness is absolutely essential for you to get ahead in life. This isn't one of them, but people have a bias, and if they find someone physically unattractive because they're overweight or obese, for instance, maybe they'll just, discount them or disregard them simply because of their physical appearance. I'm not talking about not wearing a tie. I'm talking about being obese or out of shape or overweight. So that's not one of them, by the way. First reason, and the major reason why you need to focus and prioritize your physical fitness, not for a physical fitness objective. Like I say in the beginning, could be to get the job of your dreams. It could be to get a promotion. Whatever it is, non-fitness related, you need to focus on your physical fitness for these 7 reasons. And reason number 1 is your self-esteem. If you are feeling good, if you're feeling healthy, when you feel good, you're going to have a good outlook on life. You're going to be positive. You're going to smile. That effervescence that comes through being physically fit, that's going to shine through. Your character is going to shine through. And you're going to be a happier person. If you're a happier person, you're going to do well in life. If you're an unhappy person, well, people are going to tune out of you because you're unhappy. Happiness is one of those things. It's infectious. And people like to be around winners, people who feel good. When you feel good, when you're a winner, you feel happy. You can tap into that. You can feel like a winner by being physically fit. Address your physical fitness and improve your self-esteem in the process. Number 2, why your physical fitness is important for you is your energy. If you are physically fit, you're going to have lots of energy levels. Your energy levels are going to be through the roof. If your energy levels are through the roof, then you're going to achieve more. You're going to be able to do more. You can go more places. Your mobility, your energy, that's going to carry you through a long work day. Supposing you have a grueling schedule coming up. Well, if you have more energy, then you can really attack that grueling schedule. If you don't have a lot of energy, well, you're going to slumber. You're going to flounder. You're going to be sleeping on the plane, sleeping on the train. Showing the business class there, but you're going to be sleeping when you should be, attacking the agenda. So get more energy into your life by being physically fit. Achieve more. The vigorous routine that you've, got laid out in front of you, that can be attacked readily and more actively if you have more energy. And you're going to have more energy the more physically fit you are. Number 3 is discipline. I talk about discipline in a whole nother video, and I'll link at the end about discipline. But number 3 is discipline. The disciplines that make you physically fit. Let's say you have an objective to become more financially successful. I can assure you, the same disciplines that see you healthy are the same disciplines that see you wealthy. You're not going to find that anywhere online. That's something that I've made up. What makes you healthy makes you wealthy. Being physically fit, it's a cheat code to being financially successful. The same things you have to restrict yourself from, not necessarily the same things. Like if you restrict yourself from, cornflakes in the morning, you bypass breakfast, that you're going to be rich. No, obviously, if you stop smoking, for instance, because you want to be healthy, you're going to be richer because the absence of cigarettes means you're not spending on cigarettes, and that's more money that you can save. The more money you can save, the richer you're going to be financially. You see how they're in tandem and they work together. And that same principle you're going to find everywhere in fitness. You need to be fitter, so have more energy, as I talked about in the previous point. You need to have more energy. So your personal trainer says to you, well, look, I'm looking at what you're eating here, your food journal for the last week, and you had alcohol. On those days you had alcohol, how did you feel? And you say, oh yeah, I slumbered on those days. I slumped, I had energy slumps. But the personal trainer says to you, it's the alcohol. You can drink alcohol and have no energy, or you can give up the alcohol, and then you can really attack your work days. That grueling schedule, as I said before, you can attack it by getting rid of the alcohol. What do you do when you get rid of the alcohol? You have more energy, but we talk about being wealthier. Well, you're going to be richer, because that bottle of wine that costs somewhere between £5 and £15 every day, maybe you have a bottle of champagne every day, maybe you're really balling out of control. Good for you. If you do, that money that you save, well, you're not going to be rich drinking champagne every day unless you're like royalty rich. But anyway, that bottle of champagne or that bottle of wine, say it's 6-7 pounds each day. That's 6-7 pounds that you're spending on that bottle of wine each day. Well, if you're not spending on that wine and you're becoming physically stronger, more energy as a consequence, you're also on the other side of the equation, you're becoming richer. You're becoming richer because you're saving that money every day. I told you in a previous video I'm very, very good at maths, but let's say it's £7 over 7 weeks, and we £7 over 7 days, and we call that £50 a week. £50 a week. I mean, it's not too many weeks before you realize those £50 a week are going to add up. I know it's 49. I just rounded it up to, so maybe the bottle was £7.25 or something on some days, on 4 days of the week. So it's £50 a week, but I'm rounding up. You're going to be richer by not having the wine. And by not having the wine, you're also going to be physically fit, stronger, fitter than you otherwise would be if you're drinking every day, If you're going to the pub every day, of course you're going to get a beer belly. But if you want to see your six-pack because you want to go to the beach, because you want to attract the woman of your dreams, well, guess what? Giving up the beer, that discipline, that daily discipline to give up the beer is going to see you have the six-pack. And obviously, as I touched on in the same point, you're going to be richer too, because you're not buying 2 or 3 pints every day at the pub. I don't know how much that is. I don't buy a beer at the pub, but it's going to be a fair few quid. That fair few quid, instead of spent on beer, it goes into your account. That compounds into interest. The more interest, the more money. The more money, the more interest. Rule number 4 ties into the previous rule on discipline. Discipline, is everything. And I do a previous video and I'll link it into this one. But brain power taps into that too. It takes brain power to know the objective. It takes brain power to decide, well, this course in life isn't really the best course for me and I need to take a different course. It takes brain power to form that self-discipline. You need to have a strong brain to have self-discipline, to achieve your physical fitness objectives, to achieve your career objectives, your learning objectives, your self-development objectives, your personal and romantic objectives. It takes brain power, Let's say you want to get married. Well, women, they like men with brains. They like men who are learned, that have learned and studied and can hold a conversation. My wife, she likes a program called Love Island. Initially, having the six-pack, that's great. The women love that initially. That lasts about 15 minutes. But once she discovers the guy can't talk, he's got no brain, she tunes out. She doesn't want to know him anymore, regardless of how good he looks. Looking good is a great way to open the door in a romantic fashion, but then you have to have something behind the door. There has to be some substance behind the good looks, and that substance is your brain. And I'm saying to you, being physically fit is going to make your brain stronger. I'm not going to go into this video how it works, whether it's serotonin and all these other chemicals and the hormonal system and the endocrine system and how that makes your brain stronger. And then if you cut out the sugar, there's going to be more ketones for your brain that's going to make your brain stronger. All of that's true. All you need to know is that if you're physically fit, and the fitter you are, the stronger your brain is going to be. There's a correlation that's undeniable. Don't listen to those people talking about, you can eat whatever you want and be out of shape and everything will be fine. It won't be. That's a lie. Those people are paid off by the industries that want you to eat fast food and all those things. They're lying to you. I'm telling you, and you should believe me, being physically fit, and the fitter you are, the stronger your brain is going to be. For instance, we talk about dementia. Dementia is to do with too much sugar. That's the truth. Just research it yourself. Well, if you're fit, you're not going to have so much sugar. If you're not having so much sugar, your brain's not going to get dementia. It's less likely to get dementia. I'm not, going to say to you it's impossible you get dementia if you're physically fit. Of course, it's possible. Many things can happen. There can be an accident, for instance. But that aside, the fitter you are, the stronger your brain is going to be. And if you have a strong brain, all of your life goals are going to be far easier to achieve with a strong brain. And a strong brain, as this point says, comes from being physically fit. Number 5 on the list of why you need to be physically fit and why it's going to help you achieve your objectives, get further in life. Number 5 is absolutely to do with routine. Being physically fit requires routines. I believe it was Aristotle that said excellence is a routine. Think about that. Aristotle, one of the wisest philosophers in the history of humankind, a wonderful mind, a creative mind, but a wise mind. He gave people blueprints on how to live a successful life. He says routine is the key to excellence. Now you can research this, and maybe its mother of excellence is routine or something like that. But you get you get my gist of what I'm saying. Routine breeds excellence. Excellence is born from routine. Now, in terms of being physically fit, it doesn't happen by accident. There's no occasional fitness, part-time fitness. Someone's either overweight and obese, or they're in shape. If they're in shape, they're doing things. I'm doing things. You're doing things. We're doing things to enable ourselves to be in shape. The daily routines, the daily training, the daily restrictions. Instead of having sugar, instead of having the fast foods, we say to ourselves, no, we're going to have healthier food choices. We're going to have less food. We're going to skip breakfast. We're not going to break fast and have breakfast. We're going to skip breakfast. We're going to give our metabolism a real boost by not having so much food, by giving our gut a rest. We're making these decisions to restrict ourselves, to go without, to sacrifice. And I can tell you, that sacrificial way of thinking, where you sacrifice the fast foods, where you sacrifice eating all of the time, that is in itself a routine. And that routine is going to see you come out light years ahead of everybody else. And it's definitely going to improve yourself, because that routine is a successful routine that's going to breed from other areas, from physical fitness to, for instance, learning, from physical fitness to, for instance, relationships. So routine is the fifth reason why physical fitness is going to help you get ahead in life. Number 6, respect. There's all types of respect. Of course, there's the self-respect, and that's not what I want to touch on in this, because I want to do self-help videos like self-respect later. I'm talking about external respect. And let's be honest, we live in a visual age. If I come on this video and I look obese, maybe you're going to respect me less. Maybe your opinion of me is going to be lower because I haven't, got myself slim or in shape. Maybe that's going to happen. It's unfair sometimes, because someone could have a good personality. If it's a job interview, they could have the credentials and the experience, and maybe they're going to be wonderful for the job. But maybe I just have a personal bias against people who are overweight, for instance. I respect them less because they haven't taken care of themselves. Maybe I'm a fitness fanatic and I'm doing the employing for my company, and I've grown my YouTube to a point where I need to employ people to do my editing, for instance. And maybe the person in front of me is going to be the best person for that job, but I have a personal bias against them because they're overweight. I respect them less. That happens in life. And if you're being honest, real talk with Sean, not the fairyland where everybody's good and, people don't make those biased decisions, and everybody's impartial and nobody has, the sort of bias where they say to themselves, I don't like this person because of their shoes, or they haven't wore a tie. Well, you should wear a tie to an interview, or because they're overweight, for instance. I respect them less. That's not necessarily the sentence that's said in our minds, but in the real world, those biases exist. You know they exist, I know they exist. This is Real Talk with Sean, and bias exists. So for you to bypass the bias, to get that respect, I'm telling you, the person who's in shape, who turns up and they're slim, or at least in shape, they don't have to be fitness level, athlete level, but just slim, definitely not overweight or obese. If you're overweight or obese, that respect, and many times, is not going to be there externally from the other person, whether it's the person who's going to employ you potentially for your job, whether it's family or friends, whether it's a romantic situation where you've never met them and you approach them and they're not going to give you the time of day because you're overweight or obese. Potentially, you need to say to yourself, being physically fit, being more physically fit, taking care of yourself, being in shape, maybe that's going to help me in job interviews. Maybe the interviewer is going to look at me, the interviewee, with more respect because I'm in shape, because I'm not overweight. Maybe in a romantic fashion, you say to yourself, these types of women that I want to be with, maybe they're going to be more interested in me. Maybe they'll give me the time of day. If I'm in shape, if I'm wearing slim fitting clothing, if I've got my shirt tucked in as opposed to, hanging out over the side because my belly's hanging out over the side, or your belly's hanging out over the side because you can't tuck your t-shirt in, because the belly's hanging out. Maybe the woman, maybe they'll like you more. Maybe she'll be more interested and susceptible to your advances if she respects how you look more. Number 6 here, what I'm talking about is respect that others will give you because you are slim. Others will give you because you are in shape, because you aren't overweight. They'll give you that respect. That's why it's crucial that you take care of your physical fitness, so that others give you respect, and you really want them to give you that respect. It's going to help you come out ahead in the end. And number 7, on why you need to be physically fit and why it's crucial for you to be stronger for longer. Longevity. Everything in life revolves around your health. If you're not healthy, then you can't be there. If your daughter's at a nice a hockey match. Maybe she plays ice hockey. She's doing an ice skating show. Or she's playing tennis, or your son is playing football. To be there, you need to be healthy. Yes, number 6, you want the other parents and the people there to look at you and say, oh, he's healthy, and respect you and have a good opinion of you. That goes into the previous point, number 6. But this point here is longevity. To be at those ball games, to be at the ice rink for longer, for all the many years of their life and your grandchildren's life, and to play football with them in the park, to do all these quality things that we want to do in life, it requires you to be physically fit. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's not me fat shaming. It's not me doing any of that. Real talk isn't about fat shaming. It's about telling the truth. You need to be in shape so you can be stronger for longer. Longevity, so you can have a long, strong life and do all of the things, all of the situations that require you to have physicality. Could be going to the shops and coming out of the shopping in your hands. It requires you to have physicality, and you're going to have that physicality for longer. I assure you, you will, if you take care of your physical fitness. Likewise, all the other things in life that require physicality. Maybe it's making love to your partner. Making love to your partner, she needs to be attracted to you. Maybe you were slim in the beginning and she's not attracted to you now because you've put on weight. You've let it all hang out. You've let yourself go. Take care of that. Take care of your physical fitness. Get your self-respect. Get the physicality. Get her to respect you again. But if you, in terms of making love, it's a physical action. Well, the longer that you're physically fit, the longer you can make love in the way that you want to. Maybe we don't have to go to the physicality of a relationship. Maybe it's walking on the beach with your partner. Maybe it's going jogging with your partner. Maybe it's going jogging with your friends. Maybe it's going out with your friends for walks, to ball games, to play football, to play rugby. Whatever it is, that physicality is going to be there for longer if you make the decision today to take care of your health. I mean, take care of your health, not just let it amble, I'll just let it happen, and if it happens, it happens. No, you decide that you're going to take care of your health. When you really make that decision and you take the reins of your life, you take responsibility for your physical fitness, all of the 7 things that I've mentioned in this video, they're going to happen for you. And if they happen for you, you're going to do better in life. You're going to win more than you lose. You're going to be a winner. Someone looks at you, you'll be a winner. You'll feel like a winner. You'll feel like somebody that's proud of themselves, somebody that other people are proud of. All of those qualities that make for the richness of a good life, you will have them simply by following these 7 principles in this video. All of them related to why you need to improve your physical fitness. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching this far. Subscribe, like, all of those things help the channel. It's going to help me help more people make these videos.